There we go. Good evening. Welcome to the Gresham-Barlow Board of Education budget hearing. We will do roll call for this. I see Sean Barnes, I see Blake Peterson, Myra Gomez, myself, Chris Howitt, Holly Riegelman, and David Ligatich. With that, we do have a quorum for the budget hearing. The budget hearing, I will give a quick purpose for that. Let's see. I'm trying to get to it, Sarah. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this page. Here we go. So on April 9, 2025, the Superintendent and Director of Finance presented the district's 2025-26 proposed budget for the 14-member budget committee. The committee approved the proposed budget at that time. District Policy DBG/DBH Budget Hearing and Adoption Procedures and ORS 294.453 requires a public hearing prior to board adoption of the next year's budget. That is this hearing. And what we have right now is I do have one person that submitted a comment for the budget hearing, and that is Samantha McWilliams. And yes, if you would go ahead and come down here to this front desk. And I see that you have written some things for us, and you can do your comments. Welcome this evening.
Thank you. I've never done this before. Do I just start asking questions?
So go ahead and I see that you have some questions on here, and I need for you to make sure that the microphone is right close to you so that it picks up and it can be heard by Sarah in particular and people who are watching. So, okay. I'll just tell you, historically, we don't get people who generally come to this hearing. We usually sit here for 15 minutes and just wait. So
Gotcha.
I am not entirely sure of the process other than I'll just read. If you want to read your questions, or do you want me to read them?
I can read them.
Why don't you go ahead and read?
Okay. All right. So I have looked through the budget somewhat. My husband, Nick, was on the budget committee, is still on the budget committee. And so I did attend and observe the meeting where the budget was approved in amount. As I'm a parent, I'm a volunteer and a substitute teacher here in the district. I've met some of you before at the safety summit and in other capacities. One of my concerns is wanting to know how the budget is supporting the new safety plan that the district has already started implementing and plans to continue to implement during the next school year. So I would like to know some more specifics of how the budget is supporting that process, as well as the MTSS, the multi-system or multi-tiered systems of support for student behavior. So that's one of my questions. Should I ask the next one, or?
So I think as I'm looking through this, I believe, and our board secretary will always correct me if I'm incorrect. I believe what we would get is this right now. And then on our agenda, we have a section where we actually approve the budget. And I believe at that time, I'm going to hand this piece of paper to the superintendent. And so we will have the discussion about your questions during that time. So go ahead and read
Gotcha. Okay.
your other questions.
My second question is regarding the admin area of the budget. At the meeting where the budget was approved, there was a question at the end regarding the increase in 3 FTEs for admin personnel. And at that time, the district was going to investigate why the budget was showing that increase. And so I wanted to follow up on that just to make sure that that does get answered and clarified.
And then you had one more question.
Oh, yes. Are there any areas of the budget that the board has considered reallocating, considering the cuts that have been made to FTEs for next year? One example that I'm curious about is we are saving, I think it's around $500,000 a year for the turf fields. And I know that is something that is planning for the future to ensure that we don't have a huge expense when those fields do need to be replaced. but I'm curious if the board has considered maybe reducing some of that savings with planning for a potential future bond in a few years when those turf fields are needed. And my reason for asking that is because I feel that the money is needed for other things now, and that the turf fields could potentially be funded by another source later.
Okay, so thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, I will hand this to the superintendent. I keep looking at something that's not a watch. And we will discuss it then when we get to that. And I was looking to see when that item comes up on here. It is after the recognitions, and I know we have a number of students and things that are here. It is one of our first action items after a recess. So I don't know if you want to stay that long or if you were hoping to kind of be here and then
No,
we'll answer your questions. But yeah, so it's going to be after we have the recognitions, a brief recess, and then the budget adoption is our first action item. So that should give the superintendent time to review your questions. And I know some of these have been brought up previously as well. So um, anything further that you want to add to that?
no, that's everything. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead and turn the microphone off down there. Thank you. Was there anyone else that wanted to speak to the budget hearing, which is the portion that we're in right now? If you have anything, they go on the same yellow speaking to the citizens' comments to the board. And I don't see anyone else doing that. So we have 5 more minutes that we're in the budget hearing, and then we will start our business meeting. And we have another full agenda that we're doing with the business meeting, number of students that are here tonight for recognition. So we will have that going in just a few minutes. I'm going to turn my microphone off.
La junta empieza en 5 minutos, así es que en lo que empieza la junta pueden pasar si van llegando. Hay todavía asientos acá enfrente para que si quieren tomar asiento. Tenemos todavía 5 minutos antes de comenzar.
And while people are waiting, I'll just remind them that during our regular business meeting, we do have a section for public comment. So if you were wanting to do that later in our business meeting, now would be the time to turn those in.
Chair Howard, do we want to go ahead and close the hearing and then we can start the business meeting?
So sorry, wow, that's so loud. The budget hearing is now closed. We will move into our regular board business meeting. Welcome to the Gresham-Barlow Board of Education.
Chair Howard, I need
Yes.
to end this Zoom.
Oh,
and
just
start
end it.
the
Just,
next
I thought
one.
I said
Hold on,
end.
just
Yeah, so,
like 30 seconds really quick.
oh, okay, okay, all right. Ending, well, it says 7 o'clock. Yep, all right, ending the budget hearing.